We will go through all of them. We will actually have a Mentimeter. By the way, we are, as we are speaking right now, my Claude agent is redesigning the rest of the Mentimeter because I'm too lazy to do it myself. I didn't know how to use Mentimeter. So it's slowly but steadily editing the slides. I have like 3 more slides to go. So hopefully most of it will be done by the time we get to it, which is going to be in like 50 minutes. But essentially, you will be voting on like what opportunities you think are interesting and stuff like that. If you can actually scan that code. I think it's kind of small, but can we? Yeah. Okay, so we can start now. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the agent-driven Meetup Prague. We are a new community on Meetup. We have like 1,600 members, but most of it are legacy members of the group. So we have like 500 fresh members who joined since January. And so you are very welcome. We are just starting. We are going to have 3 more meetups which already have a place, which is amazing because I kind of struggle with that part to find hosting. Today we have amazing hosts because they actually have refreshments for you as well. We're going to have one of their members, Dominik Ilichman, speak about their brand new AI, which is quite exciting. I think it's going to be really interesting for you to see what they developed. And he's going to talk about what they do in product board and how he also sees that vision that I shared with him. So again, as last time, who has been here last time? Anybody? Okay, so we have new people, that's great. So essentially, the goal of today is to present 2 things, right? Like one is the Agent Startup Canvas, which is a kind of lean canvas, business model canvas. And anybody familiar with those terms, lean canvas? Okay, most of people, that's great. Who likes lean canvas? Who has used it before? Okay. I think it's quite useful actually as like a framework to work with. So I tried to redesign it for the agentic era, right? So we're going to present that. And then I wanted to present some clusters which I found to be most interesting based on a deep research which I did, like kind of looking at what is happening in the agentic space. So I'm going to mention some European companies because we are actually in Europe and this is a meetup for Europe, right? Although people from around the world watch us. And so we're going to look at the opportunities. I want to make it interactive because we are hosting an event in like 3 weeks at Hostachov. It's a castle. It's a beautiful castle. My friend has investor group and they are launching weekly or even like every weekend there's a different event. Quite exciting place. I've been there twice. It has been great all the time. And we are hosting an event there, right? And it's very, very cheap. It's like $60, 60 euro, which is nothing for 2 days event with sleeping and with food, right? It's basically for free. And we are going to build a community there. Hopefully some of you would like to join. Hopefully about 10, 20 people. And we would like to have a workshop to keep this discussion going, to actually get something started in Czech Republic and like build the momentum for the agentic startups, right? Like put people together, let them brainstorm and do something interesting, right? So if you are somebody who has ideas, wants to meet new people, this event is kind of going to be like a little bit like a showcase what you can expect, just a little bit because we have presentations and we have panel discussion, but some parts will be interactive, and so we want to like entice you with that. Okay, so I think that's enough for introduction. Now let's welcome Dominik Ilichman, and he has a mic. And he will talk about Spark AI for like 20 minutes, and then I will take over with my presentation.
Thank you, Jakub. Hello, everybody. I'm Dominik. It's super nice to see so many of you. It's great to see some familiar faces. I work at Product Board. It's a pleasure to welcome you here at our offices. I work as a PM, product manager, and I've been with the company for 5 years. And today I want to talk about two things. First, about our vision, what is going to change in the agentic software development? How is the role of product manager, engineering and design going to shift, and what will be the impact on these roles? And then I want to share a couple of learnings that I had in the past year. I've been working with super talented people on a new AI agentic product, and we learned hard way very often a couple of really interesting insights, and I want to share it with you. So before we kick off, how many of you have tried AI coding agents? Can you raise hands? All right. How many of you are engineers? All right, so it's almost 1 and 1. Nice. So you probably know that when you do product development, there are two main phases. There is product discovery and product delivery. Which one do you think will become much easier with AI coding agents? Delivery, right. So when delivery gets really shorter because AI coding agents can do most of the work, you will then become more or less orchestrator. But what we've seen in the past year when people start using more and more coding agents is that initially they basically tell the agent what to implement in really short way. And a lot of the people that tested it initially said, it works only if it's super simple, but once you have a more complex code base existing product, it doesn't work. And a lot of people never actually came back. Then some of the coding agents start showcasing in the product some planning mode. So if it's more sophisticated, you create a plan, you verify it as a coder, and then you go and execute it. The third step, and that's where we are now, is that we are realizing that even the plan mode doesn't really help because it helps you plan what you want to build, but it doesn't ask the right question, like why are you building it and what is it that you want to build? And so we are starting to realize that in the era when delivery gets so fast and so quick, the spec really matters, because defining who is your competition, defining what you want to build, what's the product for whom, is really essential. And we believe that if you have a good defined spec, a spec that is much more detailed than what you used to work with, you can double the productivity of your engineering team. And that is what I've been building with the team for last 12 months. We are building AI specialized agent for product managers so that we help people to write a really good product specification. And now the second thing that I wanted to share is how does it differ from building traditional functionalities. And I think the first thing that you will realize is that, and it's no-brainer, agents are non-deterministic. And as a PM or as an engineer, if you build them, you're not building a static layout, a static UI, but you're building a behavior. And it's really difficult to actually spec out a behavior. So for me as a PM, there were two essential things. The first one was get a sense of what is possible with the LLMs. So I spent a lot of my day just playing with different LLMs, with OpenAI, with ChatGPT, with Claude, with Gemini, just to try what are the other different models capable of, to get a sense, because some tasks are not good for LLMs, some of them are better, and just to get a sense of what is possible is really essential. And the second thing is that you need to get the user experience. How does it behave? How does it feel? And for that, what we found out is super critical to build an early prototype. When we start building Spark, that's the new AI specialized agent, we created a prototype in Cursor. We totally banned Cursor. We use their folder and file structure so that we can mimic what we want to build later on in product board. And everybody on my team spent hours, maybe days or weeks in that prototype to play with it, to test it, to get a feel what works and what doesn't. And this actually saved us so much time, because a lot of the ideas that we had in the beginning, we found out that they are too complex to build, or the UX doesn't work because it's unintuitive. And so building prototype is definitely the first learning that we had. And this is a little bit more personal. I am a PM. I studied law, so I have definitely zero technical background. And when the co-founder, Dan Hale, firstly came up with this prototype in Cursor, and he sent it to me and said, hey, play with it, and let me know what you think. I was like this. I was super scared, because like a UI like that, when it's all black and there's a lot of code, absolutely scares me. But I realized that if I really want to tell my engineers like what we want to build, I need to get a sense of it. And so I start playing with it more and more. Now I feel way more comfortable with it. But my realization is that if you, as a PM, build a product, you need to get way closer to engineering. And I think it's something that we need to realize. I also think that engineers need to get much closer to PMs. They need to become a little bit of PM as well. But that's the second learning. Then if you build an agent, because you're building behavior, you need to continuously test it. So what we also did, we had the prototype in Cursor, but as soon as we could, we moved to a staging environment where we enabled end-to-end flow. And again, the whole team jumped in and started playing with it and started testing it, not by the end when everything is implemented, but every week, every day, we tested it so that we can have quick feedback loops, and everybody is kind of aligned how it behaves, because there are so many different things that you need to catch. Performance, context windows, responses, quality of outputs, and so on. And the last insight is a cold start problem. 6 months ago, we released a beta program. We released a specialized agent, and we believed it's super powerful. It has conversational UI, and you can do almost anything you want. We released it, we got first maybe 10 users, and we found out after a week that 8 out of 10 never used it at all. So they came to the product, we recruited them. We made sure that those people that we let in had the real problem that we were hoping to solve. They got into the product and they didn't do a single prompt. So we jumped on a call to find out, like, what's wrong? Like, what is happening? And in most of the cases, we found out that they do not know what to do. So if you are building AI tool, do not assume that people are super fluent with AI. They don't know how to prompt. They don't know what it can do. And they don't also know what it cannot do. So the learning for us is that you need to build a guided experience. If you build a conversational interface, it's super flexible. It covers hundreds of different use cases. But if you do not show them, if you do not explain them, it doesn't matter because nobody is going to use it. So for me as a product manager, my job became to create content, to create demos, to create walkthroughs. So I constantly record looms. I share them with the beta community that we have now. And right now, I think it became a big portion of my time. explaining what you can do with flexible UI. And the last thing that I wanted to share, and I think this is something in between product management and engineering, but if you are building agent, context management really matters. For those that are not that familiar with it, every LLM has a limited context window. You need to fill in the most critical information in it, so the agent gives you a context-aware, high-quality output. But the context management, the context window is limited, so you can't fill everything in. The more you fill, the more noise you're bringing. And so as a PM, as an engineer, you constantly need to think, how do we design the context management? And these were the learnings that we learned in the 9-12 months. For me personally, it was super valuable experience. We are continuing building Spark. If any of you are hoping to found a startup, or if you are product managers, or if you just want to expand your skill set from engineering to PMing, we have a beta program. It's on our website. You can sign in. You can test it out. It's free. You don't pay anything. And I would be super happy to get your feedback on it as well. So this is it. And I will hand it over back to Jakub. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I think that was really amazing. I think what's really interesting about today is that we are talking about lessons learned, but we are talking about lessons learned in a product, which is actually something you can directly use after this meetup, after this discussion is over, after you think about what you could build. You can get some. I think there is a free trial, right, in Product Board, so you can try Product Board, and maybe this AI can actually help you with all these things we are discussing right now. I just realized that actually. Yeah. So let me switch the computers now. It's a lot of slides. Okay, here we go. This works, amazing. Okay, so I have a lot to say, so let's try to go fast because it's gonna be a lot, but you are, I think, ready for it. So what is the agentic era, right? Like, essentially, we're gonna talk about the shift that is happening, the principles, and then the opportunities. That's the plan for tonight. We're gonna make some breaks. You're gonna be, turning to your neighbor and discussing things. You're gonna be voting there on Mentimeter. By the way, can you, actually, maybe let's do first one thing first, which is that I'm gonna share with you I think I have it somewhere here. So, maybe this is bigger, right? Let me zoom in. And if you can scan that, please, so we can all vote. Yeah, it's the same, completely the same, yeah. So everybody got that? Anybody still needing time? No? Okay, perfect. So let me get back. So yeah, so we're gonna do that to make it a little bit more fun for you. we're going to talk about these clusters, which are from the article that I shared with you. If you want to read up on that, go to your email. You will have the article there. So yeah, like actually that's the first exercise. So could you please, yeah, exactly. Could you please vote on that, on the first exercise in Mentimeter? Let's see what you think right now at the beginning. Which opportunity clusters are most real right now, best for a small team? Those are the questions. Please vote. Let's see what you think on the screen. You have 5 votes in total. So it's being filled as we speak. So right now, agents as labor are leading, then agentic platforms, then money and capital, education and talent just switched to number 3. AI native software. That's actually the original name of this meetup, by the way, right? Maybe some of you noticed that we were called Prague AI-driven software meetup. But I decided that agents are kind of more big than that, right? Yeah. So cyber resilience is the lowest, which is interesting because I think that's actually where Czechia is the best. So I guess none of you is from that community, or some of you that voted maybe. Anybody from cyber community? Okay, okay. Yeah. So we have agents as labor, agentic platforms, education and talent, money and capital, collective intelligence, and those are the top 5. Okay. We will see what you think after the presentation. We will vote again. So you know, like the point is that we are no longer talking about chat interfaces only, right? Like that's what started in 2023, 2022 when ChatGPT came. It was this almighty chat you can use for everything. Now we are using that understanding of language to do much more, right? So it can actually plan, act, verify, adapt. That's all possible now. Same as my agent is now doing the Mentimeter. It can do anything. So it's becoming from a software as interface to a software as executor. That's the shift that we are talking about. So it can interpret goals, take autonomous action, assume responsibility, and sell outcomes, right? So it's kind of like this paradigm. I would really, you know, go as bold as say that the same electricity changed the world, the same internet changed the world. Now agents are going to change the world. Anybody who doesn't think so? Anybody who is skeptical about it? I wanna see. Okay, 3. Okay. I assume the rest is not skeptical. Was that? Uninformed. Okay. So the unit of value shifts. Yeah. So essentially, like you are kind of getting to jobs completed, right? Jobs completed is the new metric that you can measure. So yeah. So these are the forces. These are the principles we're going to talk about. So outcome beats software. So you are no longer building software per se, you are actually building the outcome, right? You can actually imagine that you have an interface which is adapted as you speak. You can say to the chat, hey, I wanna change this in my CRM, can you do that for me, right? And it will generate a UI for you as you do that, and it will give you the access to the CRM. You will be able to see that customer. You'll be able to decide, right? You'll be able to tell it, can you recommend what I should do, and it will give you a strategy and then record it again into the CRM. That's the future we are talking about. And that's actually what I'm building personally. It's called Complexity, complexity.dev if you want to check it out. So second principle, plan, act, verify, right? So you come up with a plan, Dominic spoke about that, then you do the action, and then you verify that everything is as it should be, right? Third principle is that you are using tools. So maybe you heard about Clawbot, sorry, it's actually called OpenClaw, right? OpenClaw. So they renamed it 3 times. So anybody tried that? Anybody tried OpenClaw? Okay, okay. And who was very afraid that it's going to do something crazy? Yeah. So that's kind of what they have there. They have like a bunch of skills. They call it skills, right? And each skill is connected to some MCP protocol endpoint, and it's able to access the applications that you give it access to, right? So instead of workflows, you are talking about the whole value chain operation. Like imagine that you take the company, you decompose it into the skills, the building blocks, like what people are able to do, what is required. And you can actually redesign whole organizations. Like imagine you have I don't know, like some bureaucratic, office, and you take all the skills. You really think about the skills, not like processes, but skills. Like what is a skill required? So somebody needs to decide something. Somebody needs to approve something, right? And those are the skills, and you can actually, and assuming they have some IT system that is connected to that. Now imagine that you take all of that and you simply, create like a bunch of use cases that you can create, and then it actually decides, okay, so I need to use this skill now, that skill now, I need to do this, I need to do that. Obviously, when you're talking about like government, it's better to actually design that value chain workflow and make it sort of part of the infrastructure rather than design it ad hoc. But I think it's super exciting, like what you can do now. Like it's maybe Elon Musk's dream, like when he was doing the Doge, right? Like that you can like simply take whatever is in the organization and rebuild it from scratch, right? So then the next principle is the governance becomes the product. So essentially, I think that's a really great point in terms of security. We are really good at security here in Czech Republic. We are really strong at that. And I think also as Europe, we are really strong at governance. And the point is that the governance becomes the product, right? So you actually design the product, the software in a way so that you can implement your governance principles into it. And then it can actually do what it's supposed to do within the bounds of that governance, right? And I think that's super important to keep in mind on. So then there are some economic principles. So like you can like do zero marginal scaling with agents. It's like costing you nothing more or less. It's just the LLM operations. You can do massive personalization. Like you can essentially build a version of your company for any customer, right? There's going to be completely new modes. So it's like new advantages, right? Integration depth, distribution embedding, execution reliability. And actually all the data in the company can be represented by some knowledge, and the agents can use that, right? The agents can use your own know-how, and that will be something that makes them perform in a maybe superhuman way, because probably they can combine into their mind more knowledge than a human, right? So now let's do next Mentimeter. I think I need to. Okay. Is that it? Yes, okay. So please go ahead and vote again. Can you vote to the next question? Does it work? Yes. Perfect. Okay, I can see it's a different question here, but that's all right. So we have 21 responses out of 46. So far your organization is buying productivity tools to automate tasks. The second one is we are not buying, we are watching. And the third one is R&D bet on future competitive advantage. So I guess that means like you are actually going even deeper, right? You are actually building your own R&D to use this on your own terms, right? Okay. So now let's go for the Agentic Startup Canvas, right? It's a architecture framework. So the core customer needs essentially like what used to be value proposition in the Lean Canvas, right? So this is like you need to make sure that you produce a report, right? You need to get tailored proposal. You need to detect anomalies. So those are the kind of actions that are delivered by the agent, right? Next one is these four. So the value mechanism. So how does that actually happen, right? Like what needs to be there as a tool or as a as an infrastructure to turn that need into value? Then what key knowledge do you need? Then what skills the agent needs, and then what AI workflows will you actually design to build that, right? Then then you have the tool stack, the cost drivers, the revenue logic, the competitive mode, which is really going to be exciting discussion, I think. By the way, next time we are doing a clinic. I haven't announced that yet, but we are going to do a clinic where you guys are going to bring in your own ideas. Maybe you can bring something which you are not scared to share with the rest of the people, something really ambitious, something really crazy. And we're gonna take it into the panel discussion, and we're gonna like try to develop it for you, right? Try to like ideate for you, how should it work, what's the competitive mode, and stuff like that. And lastly, the last thing is the learning mechanisms, right? So how do you actually make sure that the agent is improving, right? So that's the framework. Now let's talk about the clusters. So agents as labor, and actually in each of the clusters there is like 10 different modules. So I really invite you to go to that article later. I don't have time to go through it in detail right now, but essentially there are 10 ideas sort of you can play with in each of the clusters that represent what I'm talking about here. So I think that this one is quite clear. Essentially, you can imagine OpenClaw, you can imagine Claude Cowork, right? That's kind of what I'm talking about here, where it actually is clicking something on the computer or calling APIs and calling the tools and like inserting data and generating data and so on. The next one is trust, security, and governance. This is really exciting, I think, because we are really great at that in Czech Republic. I don't know if you all are familiar, because some of you are foreigners, but Avast is one of the biggest antivirus companies ever, right? We have also, I think, AVG, right? That's an asset is Slovak, but AVG is another Czech one. They actually merged with Avast, right? Then now Ondřej Vlček is actually launching another security startup, which is going to be even more radical. It's called Ale. I really invite you to check it out. It's actually doing cyber security for apps. So it's like doing cyber check for applications that you build and it's going through the code and finding vulnerabilities, and they are very, very successful with it. They actually took a well-known protocol and found like 12 different holes in it. So it's a super great company, which is going to be probably the next unicorn. That's my prediction, and I think it's all concluding there. Then we have cyber resilience. So this is like more connected to also to identity management and stuff like that. Then we have software creation. So yeah, like that's obviously like what I do now with Cursor, or what you can do with Claude code and stuff like that, right? Then you have frontier science factory. So you can actually, you can come up with hypotheses. You can essentially test your theories. You can do research, obviously, that's the most basic one, but you can also maybe automate laboratories, right? You can automate the agents there. Then you have physical world autonomy, which is kind of connected to that, so you can actually have robots, drones, and self-driving cars, and industrial automation. Energy and compute, so yeah, like you can predict prices of energy. You can have some kind of decision making inside the infrastructure. You can do the same for money and markets. That like you have again like trading, and you have maybe the banking can get more automated. Like things can get pre-approved and so on. Then you have collective intelligence, so you can really like. And I'm actually like building multiple things right now. So one of them is also focused on crowdsourcing and how you can sort of let people collaborate on certain ideas and documents and get research done specifically for their idea to develop it further, right? And then you can like fork it, and like people can actually develop something of their own, which is theirs. But then somebody can come and say, I want to take all the forks and I want to merge them together, right? So that's one of the startups I'm developing. I think it's quite exciting what you can do. Because the point, again, is that like the agent can actually go through much more data than you can as a human, right? So that's one of the things I'm building. Then you can have enterprise operating systems. So that goes a little bit too far, a little bit further than the agentless labor. I think that's super exciting because you can really redesign organizations. Education and talent pipelines, so you can, you can assess talent based on how they work in the company, how effective they are, how good results they have, how good ideas they have in relation to the workflows that you built, right? So if they actually come up with a lot of improvements for the workflow, you know that they are talented. And I think that's really one of the amazing things about agents, that people can do really good work much easier, much faster. But when they produce the work that maybe even nobody asked them for, right? Not somebody, but the agent can actually assess it and like evaluate whether it fits the strategy, whether it helps the company, which maybe would be hard to persuade a human to do, right? So I think like for talented people who have ideas, this is the best era ever, because you can actually do work faster, and you can actually do work which you want to do in such a short time that it's not a bother for you, right? And then the AI can actually help you sell it to the business, right? And then the last one is new institutions. So that's kind of like what we can do as a state, as maybe like as NGOs, how we can build automated NGOs, automated think tanks, and we can move the world to a better position, right? So maybe let's turn to your neighbors right now, right? And let's have a 3-minute discussion. So let's form groups, and let's make a bear case and a bull case, right? You pick which one you want to make, and try to persuade the other people about your idea, about what you think the next idea is based on this discussion right here, right? So let's take 3 minutes. Let's form groups for a moment and just discuss. The point of this is just to discuss what you think about the clusters and what you think is the biggest opportunity. And you can take the bearish or bullish position. It's up to you. But just have a discussion and let's take 3 minutes to have some feedback on this, right? So. I can see a live discussion, so let's give it 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Okay, so I think let's break it down now. So let's vote again. Let's vote again. And the question is, would you change how you voted last time? Did you change your opinion based on my presentation and based on this discussion you did right now? What do you think? Would you change your decision? And we're going to vote again afterwards as well. Okay, so I can see that some people decided to change. Some people, a lot of maybes. So I really wonder why that is. You will be able to tell us what you think in the Q&A, obviously, right? So we want to know more about what this means. So yeah, so I think when I look at it from the funding perspective, we actually were supposed to have Cedric Malou here, which I didn't say that, sorry. He actually kind of wipe coded himself into a hospital, which is kind of crazy because he's just so excited. I don't know if you saw his LinkedIn recently, but he publishes like one app like every 2 weeks, I think. He's like so excited about what is possible now that he actually got some like exhaustion, like his brain couldn't function anymore, couldn't look at computer. He said he can't sit, can't lie, can't do anything, like just complete exhaustion. So don't do it to yourself also if you are excited about AI as him. Cedric Malou, he's an investor who was supposed to be here. He's from Startup Yard, right? Is the first accelerator in Czech Republic, maybe not in Czech Republic, but in Prague. French guy. So yeah, so like in terms of, and he would actually comment on this obviously, but so yeah, so agents as labor, trust and governance, AI native software, agentic platforms. You know, that's clearly what is happening right now. You can see it all over the place, right? Then in 18 months, it's going to be cyber resilience, physical autonomy, money and capital, and science automation. I have seen like maybe already like 5 like really well backed like hundreds of millions of dollars startups in science. I think that's super exciting. That's actually my kind of wish for the world, that everything that happens in AI is going to be used for science. And then the rest is in the last batch. So I don't know like if you know any of these companies, like raise your hand if you. I mean, I guess you know Mistral and N8N, but do you know the others? Have you heard about the others? Really? Okay, awesome. That's great. Yeah. So these are some startups from Europe. You can have the presentation later, but just have a look and maybe check them out if you want to, because I think it's really exciting what is happening around Europe, right? Yeah. Okay. People taking photos. Okay. So yeah. So then we have more. So it's really not who has the best model, but who has the best governance, right? As I mentioned already, I think that's what it comes down to, because nobody, like, yes, companies have bought Copilot, even though it's the worst product out of all of them, right? Because it's simply Microsoft and they have some deal with them and so on. So yes, companies have chatbot, but there's like this ongoing meme that like people think that they have solved AI in their company if they bought Copilot license, right? Which is definitely not true. So now it's actually this, right? And like, how can you actually turn the promise of OpenClaw into something which is well governed, well manageable? That's the goal, right? Here are some examples like what you can do. I guess you would need to read the article to understand this, but there are some like some kind of playbook how you can take into advantage that you have a small team, you want fast revenue, you are a domain expert, you are well-regulated industry. This is like a playbook for you, which ideas to take on, which are the simplest for you if you are kind of not going for either one of them. If you really don't care, then use this as a guide, right? So I already asked this, and here are actually my tips on what could be super exciting for you to build. Like take this completely for free from me to you. Like if you build a company which is going to become a unicorn, then just send me a postcard maybe afterwards. But here are some ideas that you can build on, right? So autonomous compliance firm. I think that's super exciting. You can simply have a list of checks and balances. You can have processes. You can have analysis of legislation and so on. And you simply take in documents from the company and you tell them, are you compliant? Are you not compliant? Super easy. Actually, I'm already building this myself. But go ahead with that. Then there is another one, which is agent identity infrastructure, which means that you sort of like give the agents some permissions which you want them to have, right? So it's not like OpenClaw where it can like do everything because it has access to your credit card and to your email and so on. But you actually build like permissions for agents, right? Then you have first agentic bank. I think that's really exciting as well. Like, what do the banks do? Like, it's so boring, right? Like, why wouldn't the agents be able to do it, right? Then outcome insurance. So that's like not insurance as insurance, but it is like how can you insure against the agent messing up? I think it's going to be so huge in the next few years. The agents doing everything that probably this is a good product. Then you can build an AI native pharmaceutical company, right? So you can like use things like how's it called? AlphaFold, right? AlphaFold. To build new proteins or build new medicines, right? So maybe something like the AlphaFold will come for actually medication, right? Really interesting thing is red teaming. Have you heard about red teaming? One person, two people. It's okay. 4 more. Okay, great. It's a really great thing. So it's kind of like not necessarily playing devil's advocate. I would say it's like trying to find vulnerabilities in some strategy, right? So imagine that you actually, it's kind of like what Ale does, right? So you have a software and you want to attack it and figure out, is it weak? Can we trust it, right? You have a strategy and you want to find weaknesses in it, right? You have a marketing plan and you want to figure out how it can be better, right? So that's red teaming, and I think that's going to be really huge. And if you can like kind of take that knowledge that you have as an expert and put it into prompts and use agents for it, then you are replicating yourself, and you can really build a hugely scalable startup if you are a domain expert, right? Agent workforce marketplace, I think that's also great. Like we have seen something like that with, how was it called? There was this like chatbot marketplace, right, recently, and then GPT came kind of killed it with GPTs. But there was this, I can't remember now, how was it called? But something. No. I mean that. Yeah, it was like a. POE, yes, exactly, POE, yeah, exactly, yeah. So now you can do something like that with agents, right? So I think that's also huge. Another one is something which preserves knowledge of the company. It's kind of wild idea. We have some wild ideas here, right? But why wouldn't you actually store all the knowledge of all the people through all the chats they have with the agents? Why wouldn't you actually come with something out of that? Why wouldn't you take it and build knowledge out of that, right? I think that's really exciting. All the use cases, all the clients, all the history, everything that's happening, you actually take it and you build knowledge out of that, right? Programmable regulation, this is going even further. So why wouldn't you have policy as code? Why wouldn't you actually, like when everything is agentic, why wouldn't you actually build laws and policies and like rules in the company as code so you can actually execute it and verify it rather than having to read it manually, right? And last one is agentic nation state. That's the wildest, I guess. Kind of like Estonia, right? That you actually build like e-government, which is completely agentic. And everything is fully automated, and you don't wait 10 months for something. So for some permit, you actually get it done immediately. Okay, so so this is like just a reminder of the agentic canvas that I showed you. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that like chat is not agentic, right? Like we talked about what is the definition of agents. Like agents are actually performing actions, and they are doing it with some skills and with some knowledge, and they are doing this autonomously and or within some workflow, right? So you have seen like the buzzword agent everywhere, but not everything is actually agentic, right? So the model is not going to be the mode, definitely not. Like there is how much is it, the world economy? Like how much is it? Like 100 trillion? $100 trillion, something like that. And I think I did a presentation on that last time, that like 1 trillion out of that is already software, I think. And like 20 trillion can be easily done by agents. And the next, like in total 50 can be actually agent driven, right? So you can see that like if you take the valuation of OpenAI and Anthropic, there's clearly a lot more to build, right? There's opportunity for every one of us here. We don't need to think in a way that like since there is already OpenAI and since there's already Anthropic, we are already screwed and we can't do anything, right? That doesn't make any sense. You can build so much, right? So yeah, like we'll add governance later. That doesn't work. You need to build the governance from day one. That's the product. We'll charge per seat? No, like it's much better to charge per outcome, per tokens, right? Because that way you motivate people to actually use it, right? Rather than just pay for something they don't use. That's the old model. That's the model for old software, because you actually had it just in case you need it, just in case you want to put some new thing in it, new number, new information. Now you can actually do work. You can actually produce stuff, right? So it needs a new pricing model. And yeah, like you need to specialize. You need to specialize immediately, probably, right? You need to build something concrete, because now it becomes about the prompting, right? What used to be a law think stock, like what is this prompt engineering? Like we are engineers. We don't need prompt engineering, right? It's stupid. Anybody can do it. We are engineers. But now it's actually what matters, right? Prompt engineering is the new mode, because you need to have domain knowledge to build anything meaningful, right? Yeah, so I talked about this. So this is a repetition. So now, like we are moving from the industrializing physical labor in 19th century to industrializing computation in 20th century to actually industrializing agency itself, right? We are industrializing the ability to think, to operate, to reason. And there are some predictions. I wanna close up already. We are going a little bit longer. Yeah, so here is another thing to vote on. So can you see this question right now? Which of these radical agentic ideas are good? Can you see that? Yeah, awesome. Let's see what you like. It's actually different stuff than what I talked about, so that's even better.
How many points do we have here?
Let's see until they tell you you don't have any more. I don't know. Sorry. Okay, we have 21 votes. Why is it not moving though? Well, I think it's because it's I need to press show responses. All right, here we go. So infinite personalization is leading the way. Then we have full autopilot coding, okay. AI run legal departments, autonomous sales agents, AI doing scientific discovery, and fully autonomous customer service. And then we have CEO-less companies. I think that's pretty radical. So we have 2 votes for that. That's bold. Thank you for being bold. And then we have AI CFO. Yeah, we have 34 votes. I think we are good to go. Okay, so let me see if I have one more vote there. Next slide. Okay, so let's see this, right? Like, would you vote differently? Let's see what comes up now. Would you vote differently than you voted before? Did I give you an insight that you are able to use now in your thinking? Let's see if the same things come up. We were talking about specialization. We were talking about governance, right? Okay. So we can see science automation, collective intelligence is big, trust and governance, AI agents again. So I can see that collective intelligence is picking up steam. Education and talent, that's really interesting. I would like to hear more about that. What you think are the good things about that, like where you see the opportunity. But still AI agents as labor is leading. And agentic platforms are kind of behind, so interesting. Okay, we have 28 responses. I think we can move on. Let's see what we have here now. Okay, so yeah, so this is after. So yeah, so yeah, I think like write down a mental note for yourself. You know, like how has your thinking changed? If anything changed at all? Which cluster are you going to investigate next week or this week? And like one thing that changed your mind, how you think. Just make a mental note right now. Think about it, blip. And So it's really about not augmenting work. It's about reprogramming the architecture of value creation itself, right? So yeah, I think we can skip this. Or do you want to? I actually had in mind an exercise for you, and then we will take a break after this, right? So. And you can actually you can actually, you know what, like let's do it that this is going to be the break now, right? And I want you to do one thing, which is that like are you willing to do one more exercise? Okay, half people, great. So I have these papers here. And I would like you to look at these clusters and come to me. If you like one of these clusters, you will take this letter, you will take this paper with a letter, and then people will come to you, and you will form a group, right? And you will discuss together during the break what you think is the opportunity in that cluster, and then we will actually let you pitch that, right? You will come here and you will pitch it to others what you came up with. Is it good? Okay, okay. So come up. Don't be shy. Come here if you like one of these clusters. I will give you a note.
Right now?
Yeah, which one?
F.
Okay.
If that's math robotics or similar.
F is yeah.
Right, perfect.
L. So we have two. Come up. We have two new startups forming here. Who else is coming? I can see some more coming. Okay. Which one?
You have healthcare?
I don't think so. No.
So, AI labor.
Which is A. Okay. All right. Which one?
Which one is left?
Look at the papers. I don't know. He has A, and then we have F, L, and B. So you can take a lot of them.
Trust.
Trust, which is
B.
B.
Oh, no, he has B.
Yeah.
Cyber. C.
C. All right. So I think we are good to go. I think if anybody else wants to come now. You are coming? Which one? Okay. 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 Great. Anybody else? I think we have enough groups. So now, if you have anything to say about any of these letters, come to them, or they will have to do it themselves. Okay? They can do it themselves. They are smart, but you can actually have them. You can bring them great ideas, I believe. So enjoy the break and speak to these guys during the break, and then I will want to hear pitches from these guys afterwards. So hopefully you can give them some good insights. So yeah, so let's take a break now for 10 minutes, okay, or 15 minutes. Oh yeah, Andre does amazing trainings for managers and people who want to learn about. I'll let him introduce himself, maybe.
Nice to meet you guys. Hope you are not too tired already. Thanks, Kuba, for the intro. Just to keep it short, we work with companies such as Skoda, ČEZ, Czech National Bank, the presidential office, for example. But we also build agents for hospital right now because we found the EU hospital sector to be quite paralyzed from all the routine work. So we're trying to eliminate it. So I hope I can add my 2 cents tonight, and feel free to ask any questions later.
So amazing. So let's bring in, I think we had A and B, right? I can't remember all the clusters, but I think you all know the alphabet. So if you are A and B, come here, and then we'll have to figure out the rest, like which letters we took. Do we have both A and B? You are B, and do we have A? Did we have A? I think we did have A, right? Okay, awesome. You are A, right? Perfect. So if you can please stand here in the middle because of the cameras, and you can give us the pitch. So let's give it like 2 minutes. Is 2 minutes enough? Okay, awesome. 3 minutes maybe. Yeah, perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello. So, who is our customer? We was thinking about companies that already has 20 plus people, and which problem do they have? Is that somebody in the company can misuse tools, leak data. We would like to have an agentic tool that basically investigates it, makes company more compliant, and eliminates risk of data leakage and tools misuse. So the value will be that we propose is that company becomes more trustful and more compliant.
Okay, awesome. Now let's hear the other pitch. Yeah. Take that.
Hi, my name is Daniel. We have a diverse team actually of R&D engineers, doctors, and BI team lead. So our ideas, I'll start with a question. Who in the past year has reached out to ChatGPT to ask him something personal about his life and didn't share it with? I see people in the crowd smiling, that's good. So I will not ask it here, but the research says that at least 80% reach out to ChatGPT on very personal topics, including relationships and other topics. So the idea is ChatGPT, besides the fact that it can hallucinate, it's not actually linked to your personal information, whether it's sleeping patterns, nutrition, lifestyle, relationship, etc. We want to make an avatar, right, to build the trust and help people start, process, and work towards their goals. But since, technically speaking, avatars are relatively expensive and we need to build the trust, and probably all of you won't go to Google Play or equivalent Apple application markets to download just a random app. So we need to link together or cooperate with local HMOs that will suggest these applications to their patients. And the idea is you start a process. The avatar tells, hey, let's set up a meeting with a dietitian in 3 months from now. What do you mind? We can cancel it any time. And already with a small psychological trick, the person feels like he is committed to a certain process. We won't use avatars all the time because it's relatively expensive. It will send sometimes WhatsApp messages saying, hey, can we schedule a call? We can use agentic voice AI, things like that. So the idea is, why not use ChatGPT? Because it hallucinates, because it's not linked to your holistic data points throughout your entire life. And we believe that in the upcoming time, this could help dietitians and professionals. We obviously do not exclude professionals out of the loop. We have to have human in the loops. But the idea is to help people start a process, work towards their goals, and potentially would like to call it metacognition in terms of looking at yourself from the outside and understanding how you compare to your previous selves and the people around you. That's pretty much it. Hope I answered all the questions.
Nice. Great stuff. So yeah, so I'll give a brief comment. Ondřej will give a brief comment, and then we'll open it up for discussion, right? I think I'll start with number A, right? To go alphabetically. I think it's true that obviously ChatGPT doesn't have all your data. That's a great point because there's a lot of things you can connect to it. So I see a lot of value in that. I assume that you want to actually use some agentic workflows to analyze all that, put it into context, right? Related to maybe how the person feels.
Also sleeping rings, because we working with public health professionals, we understand that health, relationship, nutrition, it's all related holistically, and we need those data points, which are obviously doesn't exist in ChatGPT or other platforms inherently.
Right. So definitely that makes a lot of sense, and I like the ambition to do metacognition. Can you comment on the metacognition, how you perceive that?
Yeah, it's mostly an analogy on the way that a person could look at himself from the outside. So
Right.
I imagine a grid, right? A virtual grid. You can call it a digital twin, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it can like analyze how you felt, what was your emotion, and maybe link it to your health, maybe link it to your sleeping patterns, and like give you some insights which you don't perceive on a conscious level, because
Right. Compare yourself to others. By the way, when we go to the doctor, he has a very partial view and understanding of he doesn't really know about our sleeping patterns. He's not necessarily linked to our meetings with the dietitian. He has maybe he has access to blood tests, etc., but it's very partial. So we want to make something holistic that combines all those things together, including relationships that aren't discussed with a doctor, but maybe with a psychologist or friends, or 80% ChatGPT. Right.
Well, thanks for the page, for starters. I actually very like the part where you mentioned the commitment linked with, talking to an avatar, talking to some sort of like an instance that resembles a human being, the normal conversation that you would have. Actually, some colleagues of mine, former colleagues of mine, who now works at Rohlik Group, told me that their CEO, Tomáš Šupr, is using avatars to relay memos on the individual teams, and it proved to be a very effective way of communicating. So this sort of like hyper personalization, where you use all of the data points, gather them at one point and use them to work with the person, with the user. I think it's the future. I like the hyper personalization term itself. I like it in product. I like it in everyday life. There's also there could be the downside of over-relying on technology contact other than the human one, but.
Yes, that's why it was important for us to mention that human in the loop is necessary and will be necessary in this area. Definitely.
Yeah, I know you did. So I think it's actually quite an interesting idea.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's open it up. Who wants to ask something for this startup? Anybody has a question? Anybody has a comment? Anybody thinks? So who would buy this? Who would buy this? Who would consider? Okay, you have now how many? 7, 8 customers?
Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start.
Okay, nobody has a comment? That's kind of sad. Like, okay, there we go.
I was discovering it slightly in App Store and Google Play. The only thing that I figured out, it's like incredibly competitive environment. Yeah. Good luck with that. It's definitely a noble...
Well, it's definitely a red ocean. We prefer it sometimes than
like
the blue ocean. It means competition is
like
not necessarily
blood
bad.
everywhere. I was trying to check for some prices for cost per install. It's crazy.
How would you pick the best product for you? Do you have advice for him? What should be the mode?
Unfortunately, I don't have any advice. But it just, I hope that guys have some solid marketing strategy, or maybe they have a source of cheap traffic.
Anybody tried something like this already? Anybody has good tips on what should be the moat, what should be the advantage? Okay, so let's switch to the other one, right? So we had the trust infrastructure. Can you actually tell us the moat that you found yourself should be the moat for the startup?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What is the competitive advantage that yeah.
So I think
Stay here.
the competitive advantage is that nobody, at least we didn't hear that anybody looked in this direction that actually solve problems inside, and especially some misusage. Then rather, everybody just want to follow compliance, but to solve it more legally without actually making some monitor tools. So for us, it's a huge advantage and very interesting field to investigate. The biggest doubt that we have, that I actually forgot to tell, that we don't know if it will be possible to implement it with enough quality, but we're looking at it very optimistic.
Okay, thanks guys for the edge and for the follow-up as well. So I'll try to be brief. I actually have a colleague of mine who works with compliance. He actually got really into it. It's actually his daily 24-hour job now. And with compliance, there are many levels that you can approach it. What would you say that Czech companies, if you have the chance to work with any or had some conversations, what would you say their view is right now on the whole compliance department? Because in my opinion, many of the companies that I've came to contact with were actually dismissing it as a whole. They were saying yeah, we know there is compliance, we know there's something that that is something that is important, but not right now. So how would you stress the urgency to act now?
So I think it's more a problem of small startups that don't have enough resources, and also people actually want to build stuff, right? If you have a small team you want to build, then rather work with papers. So I think one of the things that might help is a structured roadmap that actually somehow adapts on a way to your own company. So you actually would grow not only technically, but with compliance too, which understanding which standards you should follow and grow as a company without risk. And I think the second problem is that usually companies just looking at it let me just finish with it. Let me just be compliant and then continue to build features, right? I think it's not a very good approach. I think you should also grow in that way the same as you grow in the technologies.
I think that's really interesting. So how can you actually embed what you find in the compliance into some next level process, next iteration process? How can you take the exercise of analyzing how the process works and whether it's compliant, and how can you improve the company by doing this exercise, right? And how can you embed this into the process later?
So I think that first of all, it should, in a lean methodology, everyone should be involved, right? First thing. Second thing, we need to adapt management for it. I think, for example, if you have a calendar and you have meetings about features, you also should find time to discuss how our features will work with the laws. Will it be a bottleneck for us if we implement something like specific feature, right? So I think it should be integrated in product management the way that technology meetings, right? When you discuss features, you also need to discuss not exactly laws, but how your app and features are they trustful enough, right? Yeah.
Okay. So you gather feedback and what people say, and you also use that as part of the learning process, how to...
Yeah, I think the problem is that we should involve as much people as we can, but it's hard to involve people who are working on features to think about the trust, you know, and it's a problem that I'm thinking now.
By the way, let's bring in the next. Let's prepare for the other ones. I can't remember if we didn't have C and D. No, we had C, right? We had C. So come in, and then we had which letter? What was the next one? Did we have F? Did we have G? We have what is that? F. Okay, perfect. So let's come on in. So yeah. So I will let you give applause after we do all the pitches, right? So please stay here. We want to make a photo, I think, also for the brave new founders, next generation of founders coming out of this spontaneous meetup. So we have now C. No, F. So where's C? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I can go. So our C stands for cyber. And in cybersecurity, our startup, do you all know how when you are vibe coding, the result is sometimes a little bit crappy, and sometimes it's throwing errors, and sometimes it's not working. This is exactly what we want to show to the hacker who is trying to hack into our app. Sometimes it will be showing errors. He will see, oh, there is probably some leak in the database, but actually there is not, because it's vibe coded and it's just our honeypot that we made, so the hacker will spend time, resources, and energy hacking into our app. And we will use the existing app of the customer. He will just set the URL, and we'll be working the same way as Cloudflare, protecting the website from the attackers. But instead of Cloudflare, when it's showing the CAPTCHA and like trying to prevent the bot coming, we will welcome the bot, and we will show them the worst version of the customer's app. And this customer's app will be bad in any way. And the hacker will spend so much time trying to find errors that doesn't exist. Sometimes it will show passwords. He reads the request, and suddenly the passwords are not there, and they will spend so much time trying to find the error. And for the customer, it will be the easiest protection, because it can just stand between the real website and the bot. And yeah, this is how it already was like. I think T-Mobile had a similar product that was like AI grandma that was picking up calls from scammers trying to waste their time talking about grandchildren and what she's cooking for dinner. And so this will be the same product as theirs, except it will be working as a Cloudflare as a firewall, because I think firewalls shouldn't be boring and shouldn't be like limiting the entrance to the website. We want the bots to enjoy the website in the worst way.
Okay, absolute A for the enthusiasm. Loved it, as well as the audience, I think. So just one question, or maybe more, but the one main I have right now. So you would basically take the app that the company will give you, and you will make a crappier version out of it.
Yeah, with a lot of errors, which I think vibe coding it will. We are prepared for this already. We can like take the existing stuff and make it the similar way with a lot of errors. And the errors, like the more errors, the more ways for the hacker to like trying to exploit them. But in reality, it's just fake websites, so they will get the errors and spend time like trying to exploit them. Yeah.
Oh, and just one quick follow-up. I don't want to get too much into it, like your know-how and in like technical debts, but how does it work actually? Like you get the code and you just wipe code it, but say like make as many errors as possible.
Yeah, similar like this. Okay. And sometimes you don't even like have to like persuade the AI to like work so hard to make the errors.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think there's only one drawback is how well can you recognize who's the hacker, who's the agent, and who's the real customer, right? Do you have answer for that?
No. This is something that can be maybe like we can show. There are, I think, ways how to detect like when someone like tries many times like to open the website, or they're like putting like SQL like select syntax in the query. So you can detect the bot somehow, but the difference is like if you will prevent the bot coming to the website, or if you will make it harder for them. Because there is this thing that it's called, I saw it first time, like, I think like 10 years ago. It's called purgatory, and this is the concept that Tinder is using for their bots. Because if you block the bot, the person knows he made a mistake, and he can circumvent this mistake. But if he doesn't know that he made a mistake, he's still trying to like work in the app, but he's already in the purgatory, and he cannot get out of it easy way, and he cannot detect if he's like if he's blocked or not. Because right now, if you show like, oh, like error, too many requests, like of course they will try again. They will use like some VPS, some like distributed network to access it. But if you are not showing the error, but just giving him the crap data, that's how they will spend the more time on this.
Right. I think that could break some hackers' hearts, hopefully. So anybody has a comment? I think this is a fun one. So, okay. Can you pass it on?
How do you prevent actual AI learning on your crap to produce more crap?
We don't mind if they are using the crap. Like that's also, it can be also protection against other AI bots. And I think there is already a project that is like, if you deploy it on your website and AI comes there, it will be going deeper and deeper and deeper in the website and poisoning himself. I'm not sure, what is it called?
You will poison actually OpenAI and Anthropic themselves.
Yeah. So we kill two birds with one stone.
Anybody else? Nobody? Okay, how many customers do we have for this one?
Just one, because we don't care about security.
No, I think it's a fun idea. Okay, so let's move on to idea number F. Letter F.
Yes. Hi. Well, anyway, it's F. My name's Stepan. Nice to meet you. I actually wasn't really prepared to pitch. I slightly misunderstood the assignment, and I had a bit too much Dutch courage. So maybe I can tell you about a project I work on right now, which we'll try to pack as a pitch, I suppose. And we'll see how it goes, and if you don't like it, I can leave.
Or you can just like summarize the discussion you had, because I saw you with like a bunch of people, right? So
yeah, I was surprised.
Like
I was surprised that so many people were interested, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So can you? Is it the same pitch? Is it the same pitch as you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So one of the projects I'm working on right now is about robotic teleoperation. So in robotics, and especially in humanoid robotics, there's a big challenge of how can you teach a robot to work without your supervision? Like how can a robot, you know, one of these vacuum cleaners, like how can you teach it so it drives around and, you know, pick up dirt, and it doesn't need your intervention all the time. So this project is on a slightly more advanced robots. It's from the waist up humanoid robot. So it's got wheelbase, but it's got arms, although they've got 2 elbows. And what we do there is we demonstrate to the robot from a human. We do demonstrations so that a special type of AI model that's not an LLM, that's a completely different category of models, can learn to do that particular task, pick up a box, put the box down. This is especially interesting for, so let's try to follow the plan, the customer problem. The customer problem of that robotics company's customer is how can I deploy a robot in my warehouse, in my post-sorting facility, in my, I don't know what else, restaurant maybe for, you know, delivering orders to the tables. And so that problem is twofold. One fold is actually what great manipulators you use to demonstrate to a robot how to move, so that the AI model can learn and do it without you after that. There's been a micro revolution going on there, which is instead of expensive manipulators, 5,000 euros type of like 3D pens and stuff, you can just use MetaQuest, which is 300 euros, the VR headset. But then generally speaking, the utilization of AI models for specific tasks, so not for the overall behavior of a robot in a facility, but for like, this is for picking up the box, this is for opening the bottle, I don't know, for delivering a pizza. That's been having a great surge in terms of AI application, but so back to the hypothetical pitch, what the agent does. And yeah, the way it's approached right now in, let's say, most robotics companies is they're having these pockets of AI-assisted small tasks, conducting these tasks, running these tasks, like picking up the box. But above that, there's a non-AI classic behavior tree, which is effectively a very big if-else. Like, if you see a wall, turn left. If you still see a wall, turn left again, these sorts of things. Whereas, and this is, I'm trying to hypothesize here, because that's not part of my project right now, is you could replace that with an agent to whom, let's say, specific high-level meta commands are available, like change mission from navigating towards something to cleaning it, or to loading up boxes, or to maybe, I don't know, doing shelves. So that's my hypothesis. Anyway, it's not really a pitch for a startup. And the biggest doubt is effectively whether or not that agent will perform better than a classic deterministic bit of software that's just a bunch of if-elses. I'm pretty sure it can, but I think it needs a generation of robotics companies to test it.
It was a great pitch.
Yeah.
I would consider it a pitch.
Non-pitch pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks anyway. I want to ask you a question. Like, what is your expectation? What are your expectations on fully autonomous, like multi-purpose robots that were promised us in products like Neo, which turned out to be controlled by actual human with the VR headset, which could be used as like a data set, similar to when Tesla first started to train on many data to be like fully autonomous in most cases. So what is your prediction? What is how do you look at the future of robotics in, like, let's say, years? Will there be fully autonomous, like multi-purpose robots, or will it always be just case or industry specific?
What a clairvoyant type of question. I think, like with all automation is a direction, not a destination. So I think it'll go a level higher every next generation of robots. Today we're training robots to do small things like pick up a box, and then between the picking up the box and putting the box back down, it's not necessarily AI. AI is in those small things, but in between them is classic deterministic software. It'll probably go a level up, why not? I wouldn't call it a prediction, but I suppose it'll go from, small tasks to like micro, whatever you want to call them, plans, strategies. Like, okay, my plan is fully AI driven, clear out this warehouse, or maybe whatever, load things up onto the shelves, or clear out the shelves. Then from there, you might think about fantasizing, of course. Whatever, not how can I go multi-warehouse, factory-wide, the whole procurement, whatever these words are, for factory-wide processes. Probably, I think that's generally how automation is working, right? First, it's sort of islands of automation. They work in place, but above there's deterministic software. But then with time, we're going higher. It's similar to with coding agents. You first just automate how to write whatever class in a programming language, and now you can give an agent an entire small app, or even a full stack system. Bit in that sort of direction.
I think it's going to be really interesting how you can decompose whatever the situation, the agent is in, right? And how can you maybe treat it similar as a skill in the corporate workflow, right? Like where, like, okay, I'm standing here, there's a box which is about to fall, I need to figure out how to put it back. There's a person here which is telling me something. How do I understand and translate what he tells me into something useful, right? I have a destination to go to. How do I navigate there safely, right? Sort of like decomposing everything that can happen in the warehouse into a set of skills, and then having an algorithm designed specifically for that, which I believe we are there almost, right? And now you are talking about this, like you mentioned, this like if else logic. Can you actually explain what is it for? I think I didn't get that. Is it for similar things as I just mentioned, or where do you need the if else?
Pretty much that's for, so like if you would imagine, just forget about software and AI and whatever, let's imagine the robot does something in a warehouse, right? It has maybe a meta task. Let's simplify it. Clear out warehouse. Just whatever you see, 50 shelves, get rid of everything, put it into trucks or something, right? So there's a meta task. But in that meta task, you have 50 times the task to clear out a shelf. Maybe every shelf is slightly different, or maybe it's loaded up differently.
Mm-hmm.
And then even a level deeper, you have, well, how do I even pick up a box and put it somewhere? And then you of course talk about all kinds of optimizations, like, well,
but I guess like there is no if else for picking up a box, right? That's going to be like insane. That's like, I like this metaphor that somebody, Jan Romportl, great guy by the way, check him out on YouTube. Jan Romportl, really excellent thinker. He's a philosopher and cybernetics expert, and he was saying, you can never teach anybody the essence of tigerness. Like what does it mean to be a tiger, right? Like you can't do that if with an if else, right? And the same way, I think picking up books is also like impossible to do with logic purely, right? It's so ad hoc, it's so spontaneous. Like what can happen, right?
Well, I think it used to be done with if else, and by if else this is a metaphor. We don't mean literally if else. We mean imperative programming, a classic analytical algorithm that a human designed, that's fully deterministic. Whatever coordinates of your joints in and new movements out, right? So we mean that by if else. But and there were algorithms to move boxes and stuff with if else. But then it turned out, and that's where the surge in robotics is, it turned out that AI models can actually do it much better and in a much more fuzzy environment. Like bigger box with a broken, handle, and these sorts of things. Right. And I think that it is that fuzzy, like being able to handle fuzziness will go higher and higher level, from box to shelf to rack to or whatever, wall, shelf, rack, to a whole warehouse. Please.
My question is rather, if it's not similar to Gen AI, and I mean, like right now, the robotics companies just don't have enough data, because I mean, like you have gazillion of data on, I don't know, like how to code something, but like you don't really have any video footage of someone in, I don't know, even at homes, right? I mean, like you see that figure, they just deploy the robots for super cheap. If you are willing to have someone or robot at home who is teleoperated, and once you get the data, the robots become much, much better. And one of the main bottlenecks is just get enough data for the robots so they can train on.
It's definitely a bottleneck. And this, in fact, where I started with, VR and stuff, it's it's not that new, but it's a slightly more new way to produce data. And it also comes from a fuzzy human, which is great. There's other ways, synthetic data, or you can even have a hybrid where you randomize human movement with AI probably. and then feed it to a robot so it's more versatile. And speaking of this conversation of going higher and higher level, like from, you know, if you want AI at the level of a whole warehouse, you probably need to feed it 50,000 warehouses, slightly different with, you know, different layouts. Again, probably where synthetic data comes in, but I forgot what the question was.
No, I mean, like, it's essentially about data, right? And like how to get as much data as possible.
For
and
sure.
I'm like, synthetic data is, again, similar to Gen AI. I mean, like, it's not enough. As we said, I was like, everybody's buying, I know, from Scale and other companies to get like real data, not only synthetic data. And here it will be the same thing, even though you can get the scale super quickly with synthetic, but it's not enough. And I guess all the ways where you can produce data, even if it's like, I don't know, through Oculus or through Meta glasses or something. I'm like, there are also something like some German startup that does the same thing. And if you can crack that, it will become much faster. I guess that's another question then.
It's a good comment. Yeah.
I kind of imagine it really, you know, because I think simulating 3D data is not that hard, right? I think like if you can build a like complex computer game, you can probably do this as well. Like what is a warehouse in comparison to
like
some
all
computer
these
game, right?
procedurally generated games and, you know, that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
direction
yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah.
generate, what are they called? Labyrinths and dungeons.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that could
yeah.
definitely be useful.
Right. So you need like that kind of level of detail, like all the angles the box can fall and all that stuff. You need to like prepare for that, but you can just generate that, right? And then you can, I think NVIDIA was doing something like that with simulators, right? That they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
right. So yeah, so I think that's pretty exciting. Okay, we have one more. We have actually this guy right there is my friend, and he's really good at robotics. So I want to hear him out.
I'm not actually a robotics engineer, by the way. Just before a real robotics
neither am I,
engineer
so don't worry.
you know, chimes in.
Hey, by the way, so about the data question, I was also thinking that the data is going to be main bottleneck of this problem. But in the end, I see one thing, yeah, the synthetic data, that sounds good on paper, but I think there is going to be a lot of issues with interactions. Like, for example, of course, gravity, you know, exists. That much can be simulated quite well. But for example, things such as, you know, carrying a cup of water, like, of course, if you carry it this way, good, water is still inside. If you carry it this way, or not much water will remain.
You spilled my beer.
Yeah. So in the end, this is the thing that getting the data is hard for. But then again, question is how much data we can extract from real humans. And there are starting to be industries where everyone needs to wear, for example, a body cam, such as police officers and so on. So that could be potentially good source of high quality data. The question is if there is a good transfer method of, you know, getting footage from a body cam and transferring it into the real model, which will do the actions. But yeah.
Just to be clear, this is much narrower than the overall discussion about, you know, embodiment and robotics. But this project where I started, you don't extract data from the human itself. The human merely controls the robot, which is another type of, you know, science on its own. The remap, the I think it's called retargeting. Yeah, please.
That's not necessarily what I meant. I mean, even from just the video footage, you can still extract what positions of the limbs, for example, are, and then you can use this to kind of get the grasp of the interactions with the environment.
For sure, and in fact, so when a human teleoperates the robot, and the robot is then, well, is being teleoperated, is moving, that's when we capture both the robot's movements and what it sees. And in fact, that's a very major part of, you know, reasoning about the world.
About the data volume, like of course, even as Mr. said. Andre. Andrew? You want me? Yeah. Andrew. So as Andrew said, that for example, you know, you can have the Meta Quest operators, and this is again like high amount of data.
You have another question over there?
Yeah, just the question is, I'd argue that the trend might be towards specialization with a level of orchestration around it, similar to the way modern software is built with modules that you can debug easily. So
Niche tasks.
yeah, niche is a level of is a question of definition, but perhaps we won't necessarily go to higher levels of abstractions always. With one robot taking care of all the tasks of a warehouse, but
Then you can also talk about fleets of robots, doing collectively.
Yeah, something like that with a certain sweet spot of specialization. I would argue that we're going towards the trend. It would be specialization with a level of orchestration around it, so you can debug functionality separately. And the second thing is, you mentioned that you're working with models that are not necessarily LLMs.
Not LLMs at all.
Yeah, I understand. But I just want to mention that there are some interesting approaches recently. So you're probably familiar with reinforcement learning and how you can teach robots. But it's interesting that Python packages like DSPy, for example, who's becoming extremely popular. They weren't popular at the beginning because they foreseen 2-3 years forward. They're offering alternative to reinforcement learning using 20-30 examples, while the LLM actually optimizes the prompts towards a certain tasks. So that's an interesting take. Sometimes it replaces reinforcement learning, and perhaps you can comment if that's even possible in the world of robotics.
Above my pay grade. But
thank you
for broadening our,
thank you.
horizon.
Amazing. This was definitely interesting for you guys. I can see that there was a lot of comments. So thank you very much. Now, what letters do we have remaining? How many do we have remaining? One? Do we have one more? Okay, we have two. Do we have another one? I forgot. We had only 6 groups. Okay, then come here again, gentlemen, and let's pitch. So you are one before. You have what? You have K, so I think it's KL, right? So let's go.
So basically my topic was platform and enterprise. And since we're entering an agentic...
Can you come here?
Yeah. Since we are going forward with agents and we are entering agents economy, when each enterprise will have their own agent, and they would need to communicate with other agent in the field. So basically there is like world-class invoice agent, and every enterprise would need to communicate with that. But the problem is there are existing rules, existing software evaluation processes, and it takes time for a company to use a new software. And my idea is to build a marketplace that would automatically check every agent, check if the model drift will happen with that agent, and to make sure it's always compliant with EU laws and etc. So basically, there would be a constant monitoring if some agent was working perfectly fine, vertical agent, specialist, best-in-class agent at the time, and it was working fine, just fine on January. Then the new model released, some software updates changed, and on March it's no longer good. Our marketplace will automatically detect it, pull it out, and make sure that everything is safe and everything is compliant. Basically, instead of like having thousands of contracts for one enterprise, there would be only one contract with our, let's say, marketplace, which would then run a mesh of sub-agents for the enterprise agents and check if they are always compliant and deliver the job without any safety issues.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again. I actually just exited a legal tech startup. We actually focus mainly on like legal research, contract generation, but also like the legislation monitoring. and we work with the energy company. And they had a similar issue. They wanted to monitor legislation. If it ever changes, what should we do? How should we act? What is it that we have to change? And we actually came across rather interesting issue with this, that there are, especially in the EU, there is a lot of noise, the legislative noise, where one department comes up with the change, proposed something, and sometimes you have to act on it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes each country has to ratify it, so you don't have to care about it until it does. So how do you want to approach the chaos that's in this legislation, bulk, and how do you want to filter through the noise to find what is actually important for me as a company?
Well, I guess that's like constant process of improvement, and basically the idea is to have autonomous ecosystem that would just run their own research agents that would check all the new information, notify if something new arrives, happens. And basically, like this whole system would check itself. So ideally,
okay, so like a cycle that would continuously improve on. Okay, I mean, it is definitely a big challenge, to navigate the noise, as I found. So hope you will have more luck than we did. Kuba?
Yeah, so I think I would like to ask about the verticality of the agent. How do you perceive that? What is the logic behind that?
Basically, I feel like we are entering a world where it's very easy to make really specified software, really specified agents, and I feel like that is natural evolution of software right now with agents. So it goes more and more vertical, more specialized in some very narrow fields.
Right. So, but you also mentioned the marketplace. So I assume like you wanna get to the vertical level by combining different agents together, and
exactly.
your know-how will be how to combine them well. And how can they connect to each other? How do you decompose? So maybe what you can do is like decompose the tasks that you are focusing on into some units which can be combined together, right? And then you have different agents for different units, right? And together it forms a big process.
Yes, it's a good idea, but yeah, it's actually, I guess, also a very important topic, which I can add, yes. Basically, my idea was just to monitor existing software by other companies, which create those vertical narrow fields, so other enterprise agents can able to use it safely. But it's a different task to manage the orchestration of all of that, you're right.
Interesting. I think that's really interesting. And so where do you see the most critical competitive advantage that you want to bring in? What do you think is the moat for this?
I think the moat for this topic is basically, I guess, the trust. And once you have built at least some of the tools, when you have a catalog at least of like 5 to 10 most popular agents that are used, and at least few companies can use it safely, and there are no security issues, then the moat will quickly build itself by reputation. Yeah.
Right. Do we have questions? Okay, we have one over there.
Thanks. You mentioned that once the agent is not compliant, you will remove it from like the company organization. What happens if that company needs that agent or like that core functionality to carry on proceeding with their normal day-to-day operations, and thanks to this agent being removed, they cannot run business as usual?
Yes, but like I work myself in a software for enterprise, Ashbach, and if there is security risk, it's usually more important than any functionality. And from my history, usually enterprise are really focused on like if there are any security breaches or possible, they would rather go to a previous version of the agent without any new function just to remove any risks. So I guess in that case, they would just go to like backroll to a previous version, or replaced it somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like security issue and legal issue are two different things. Legal issue could be like, you know, it could cost you something, could be cheap. You know, like, it's not like you are losing your data, you are maybe get a fine, maybe just some note.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There need to be like decision making in the process on whether to do illegal things and be okay with fines or proceed and or get back to previous version. Yes.
I actually think personally this idea is super exciting, to be honest. I really like it. Anybody else has a comment? Nobody? Okay, we're here for more.
So I actually thinking about something similar, and the problem that I faced is how do you want to collect the data the way that it wouldn't be a bottleneck to scale? Because, you know, there is really a lot of AI startups, and company right now want to make a due diligence to basically rather to use it as a technology of their core product or to buy it or something else. So how do you think you will approach the research? How will you collect the data? Because if you will be just using scraping, I think you won't find enough information. You should like make a research.
That's a good question. I think that there should be like, I don't know, why do we need scraping anything? Like for what reason?
Because first of all, you need to understand which are the players on the market, right? And there are already, you don't need to reinvent solutions to find those, because there are a lot of aggregates like Featurepedia, Tool.ai, maybe someone used them. So basically the main problem is to find the information that is really valuable, but not in the open source field. Like, do you planning to make a research team that basically goes and search for this, for example, revenue, for example, some hidden risks?
Yeah, I think for those specialized cases, there should be, at least for now, there should be some people involved, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. And now let's move on to the last one. We are almost done today. I think it's really exciting to hear all these ideas. Let's hear the last one. So, what you got for us?
Yeah, I know it's boring to be last group. So basically we are cluster L, education plus talent management. And and who is our customer? So basically big corporations who have thousands of employees all over the world, or the managers who has to manage hundreds of employees. So what agents does basically, you know, in the today's age, in talent management and HR, basically many things are still very manual. So basically we want to, and what employees does in the company basically has sometimes no visibility on the employees, or let's say right visibility on your manager. And what agent does basically, agents checks what actually employees does under this manager, and checks all the relevant activities, all the relevant points, and basically check patterns basically, and then give some suggestions to the manager, give some alerts to the manager. For example, you are start taking too much, let's say, vacation, and then your manager says, oh, this manager is taking too much vacation, maybe there is a problem, please contact. So always providing some suggestions, always providing, or for example, performance management. I'm really bored of this performance management that I have to do every year. It's a very, very manual process. And I always need to think, oh, what I want to, you know, do performance, or what I want to learn next year. So no, I don't need to think about it. For example, AI can check what are the potential things that I am working on, or what are the potential that I will be working on. For example, what are the company's goals, company structures, because these are big, long, boring emails sometimes that I don't want to even read it, because I'm a business analyst, so I need to align company's goals with the product goals as well. So for example, I need to be aligned with the product goals, and company can suggest me, oh, you need to learn these goals. some kind of suggestion that come from agent to the employee as well. So basically, it's gonna increase the employee and employee visibility on the manager, and of course, manager's visibility on the employee. That's what my agents plan to do.
Perfect. Last pitch. I just wanted to say that I absolutely loved the idea when I was like 15. Had no idea about entrepreneur world, nor the tech one. I actually we with my colleague wanted to build something for the financial insurance sector that would track the performance of individual tellers or bankers or the insurance agents, and would see what is the best thing that they can do. Like, for example, you mentioned it as well. If they take too many vacation days, there might be problem. If there are too many windows between meetings, okay, they might be slacking, stuff like that. And they are focusing on this type of clients. So let's give them more of these clients, so the people, the bankers themselves, can be happier. And you actually quite nicely generalize it. I think it's the future of actual employment, not just because you'll be better at your job, but you'll be feeling more relaxed, which is something that we don't talk about too much.
So as a manager, now I'm not manager, but let's say think of my manager. I do empathy. I need to do meetings with 100 people, half an hour every week. This will be a big nightmare, just to get some ideas what they are doing, how they are doing. But just there is one agent, checks everything. Like, let's say you manage an IT team, 100 people checks the Jira board, what this guy working on, what is the hot topics, what is the basically hot, let's say, hype words. Basically, you got this in seconds instead of asking these to 100 people. So this is really
exactly. You can stay in the loop and be actually invested in the team. Okay, I'll move the.
Yeah, I think it's really great. Actually, maybe you know Jan Zežáb, right, from Social Bakers.
Nope.
He's famous for Social Bakers because it's a major exit. At the time it was one of the top 5, right? Time is limited as well. And then he founded Time is Limited. And that was actually exactly focused on like how can we measure the productivity of the people, and they actually did it through Slack and such channels, right? So it was kind of spying on people a little bit, if I say it not nicely, right?
Yeah.
and I think what we can have now is actually much more fluid.
Yeah, a lot.
And that is that you can watch how they chat with the agents and how effective they are doing that, right?
Yeah.
And you do it for mainly improving the agents, because you want to implement their feedback. You want to essentially not spy on the people, but you want to tell them, hey, this is a great feedback that you just gave us because it actually helped us move the whole company ahead, right?
Yep.
So you are not spying on them. You are actually valuing their contribution towards improving the whole company processes, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah,
improving.
Yeah. Okay.
Both sides improving.
I think that's really exciting. Did you have the idea before, or?
No, just today.
Today, okay, amazing. Okay, we have one over there. Can you pass it?
Thank you. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
I just got a question. Say the company gets in a point of crisis where it has to manage crisis. So can these agents get to the point where they determine that certain positions are no longer needed based on the performance management that has been done prior? Can people lose their jobs because of that?
One example to this, to counter this question, not counter, but just give a different perspective. In big corporations, sometimes you have employees sometimes hiding under curtains, unfortunately, and sometimes they don't much contribute, but they are just still there and working. And this kind of, and as a manager, you have no idea because you have lots of people. So you cannot understand exactly who is really creating value and who is not. And in this case, okay, yes, some people lose job, definitely, there's a reality. But yeah, I know, this was actually my motto, that when you ask a question, this was the answer. Yeah, but eventually, you will have much, like, for example, it's like a compliance issue, like, as a employee, you will also know that you have to work because some also you need to eventually some AI agent checking what you are doing, you know. So I don't know how legal or compliantly it can be done. I think it can be still done, but yeah, that's something.
All right, thank you, thank you. That was an honest response.
Yeah, yeah.
Who else? Last question. You have the chance to be the last person asking a question. That's a privilege. Nobody? Nobody? Okay. Interesting. I mean, this was really amazing. Thank you as well. So now, please, if I can ask everybody who has pitched to come here for a final round of applause from everywhere. You can start clapping now. And can we ask the guy from the booth to give us a photo? Můžeš nás vyfotit? Máš nějaký foťák nebo máš, jsi můj? Jo, super. Máš nějaký nebo? Tak jo, tak připojený, já jsem připravený. Jo, super. Jo, tak my pojďme tady doprostřed takhle asi. Možná do dvou, tak mikrofon nedržím. Very good? Yeah, so are you ready? Smile. Nice. Amazing. Wow. I think it's really great that we have so many great pitches. How many of the pitches were spontaneous right here on the spot? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 6 were spontaneous. Amazing job. I really hope that things like this, you know, are the reason why we do all this meetups, because I think amazing things can arise from such events. So yeah, thank you for being such a great audience. Thank you for sticking with us to the end. You are really great. And next time, actually, so next time is this, right? It's this is how it looks there. You can see how beautiful it is. Really high ceilings, amazing big rooms. You can see it's almost for free, right? So I invite you to register, and it will be a great event. We will have the whole weekend to do things like this, right? So if you enjoyed this, please consider this. And we are going to do a next one, 15th of April. You are the first one to know, apart from the organizing team. That 15th of April we will do another one, and it will be actually a clinic, meaning that you will be able to pitch your own ideas, or maybe some ideas that you want to explore, some ideas you want to get feedback on, some ideas you want to let others to do the research on for you, right? So I might actually do, I don't know if it's possible to do like 2 different kinds of registrations, one for the idea and one for the audience. You will be able to pitch, and the whole meeting, not like this, but the whole meeting will be actually discussing about ideas. I think that's exciting. I saw you that your minds lit up when you were able to give feedback, listen to feedback, think about it yourself. I think it's always more engaging than some theory. So maybe we'll do like a short presentation next time as well, just to introduce stuff, but I think mostly it will be like that. So if you like this, come next time. Thank you very much, and you are great. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few words to end of this evening. Thanks Jacob for having me here. I hope all of you will actually use something that you've listened to, something that you've heard here, to implement in your ideas. You know, I've actually found the best ideas to be metamorphed from many others. So just use this, and that's my 2 cents. Hope to see you guys someday soon. And one more applause for Jacob for organizing this.